Hello, everybody. Today I'm going to be talking about the empirical rule, or as some people call it, the 68, 95, 99% rule. And this is very straightforward, um, and it really helps you. Once you learn this, it really kind of helps you learn more about z scores also. So let's start off and just say that we have some data, and the data has to be symmetric. Has to be symmetric here. It does not work if it's not symmetric, okay? And you'll learn more about that why or later. So, say I have this data and it's symmetric, and let's say that the average of that data is 85. And let's say the standard deviation of that data is, let's make it fairly simple, we'll say it's 7. So, what scientists have found out, or people who studied this, they've kind of found out that 68% of the whole, which is everybody in the study, 58% of everyone will fall within one standard deviation of the mean. Okay, so let's just say I took 100 people here to make this nice and easy. I put all these 100 data points in, and I end up with this histogram right here. And this test means that it was a well-written test. Some people did well, some people did bad, but most of the people did somewhere in the middle, which we'll call this 85 because this is my average. So on this, let's go ahead and go up one standard deviation. So let's go up one standard deviation, and before I do that really quick, we have to realize that the area under all of these boxes, the area of all these boxes is equal to 1. That's everybody. Everybody falls under here is equal to 1. So I'm going to go ahead and say, well, what's one standard deviation? What's one standard deviation? One standard deviation I have to add 7 to this. So one standard deviation would be 92. Do you agree? Does that just go up 7? So if I go 7 this way, if I go this way 7, I'm going to come down to 78. Okay? So from here to here, okay, I could shade that area in. And what the empirical rule tells us that 68% scored between, and remember this is always approximately, 68% scored between 78 and 92. That's what the empirical rule says, okay? And this is approximately, okay? So if this was a test, okay, out of these 68 people, these 100 people, about 68 scored between a 68 and a 92. Okay? So now I could say what the next part is. So the next part takes it a little further. So it's going to say 2 standard deviations. So let's find 2 standard deviations. 2 standard deviations would be 14 away. It would be 85 plus 14, which is 2 times 7. Let me write that the other way. Yeah, 2 times 7. And it would be 85 minus 2 times 7. Okay? This would actually be the z-score, and this would actually be the standard deviation. It's how many standard deviations. So I need to take 7 more off here, which would take me down to, let me change the color back, which would take me down to 71. And I need to add 7 more here, going out this way, which would take me up to 99. And what the next part of the rule says that, I'm going to come up here and come up here, and I'm going to draw a line from here to here. All the people will be contained within these 2 scores, okay, and that'll be 95%. So about 95% scored between 71, and 99. Okay, so that's the 68, and now for the 95, about 95% of the whole score between a 71, that's their score, and a 99. And the last one, that we do is 99.7. 99.7, so I could take this out a little farther. 7 more down, 7 more down. So if I come 7 more here, that'll take me to what, 64? 64. I'm going to do 7 more that way, and up 7 more, which will take me to 106. 106. So all I'm doing is adding 7 every single time. And here I'm subtracting 7 every time. Subtracting 7, subtract 7. Okay, so 99.7% scored between a 64 and a 106. So about 99.7%, which is basically everybody. Okay, if I take 100 people there, this could be everybody because it's approximate. Okay, so that's how the empirical rule works, and later on we're going to be modeling these things. We're going to be modeling these. That's going to be my next video. We're going to be modeling this. I'm going to do it in a different color. So generally when you see these empirical rules, they're not on histograms, they're on normal curves. So it's kind of like this, and we put it on what's called a z-curve, the standard normal, which I'm going to be talking about next, because this would be my histogram under here, and all of these are z-scores now. We take everything from our data, from our x's, and we turn them into z's. In the middle would be 0, and this is 1, this is negative 1, this is 2, negative 2, and 3, negative 3. And if you look at this, it kind of makes sense. Because 68 would be here. 68, this little part here. But if I extend it out farther, that's more. This would be 95%. And the last one, which I'd usually draw down, but the last one would cover this area right here, even out farther, which would be 99.7. So I'm going to do a quick example probably on my next normal curve just to remind you about the empirical rule. So if you're not so sure, watch the next one. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it, and have a nice day.